Okay, hey, let's bring in our next guest, Councilmember Steve Brandau. Steve, how's it going?
Hey, Chuck.
Should I say council president?
No, I'm not council president anymore.
Okay.
Now we have a new one. That's Councilman Baines. So that was last year for me.
I didn't know if the president thing followed you.
Every January. No, it should follow me, but it didn't.
We hear a lot about you in the news, but I want to slow it down a little bit, Steve.
Okay.
Did you grow up here?
Selma, right down the street.
You grew up in Selma,
Yep.
and you tell people?
I'm
No, just
Selma Bears.
You're a Selma Bear.
Selma
okay.
Bears, yes.
And so when did you move to Fresno?
Went from Selma after graduating high school to Clovis for about 10 years and moved to Fresno probably about 15, 17 years ago, somewhere in there.
What were you doing professionally?
I have a carpet cleaning company,
Okay.
so I'm a small business owner.
Okay.
And it's a very small business. It's me and one other guy, and we serve people and clean carpets, and so
do you
I
still
understand.
do that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get to do it as much as I used to.
You don't live off all that big council member money, huh?
No. But at the same time, I still clean carpets, and it keeps me humble. It keeps my foot in the world where I have to understand business, how to provide a business for customers, how to make them happy, how to do the right thing.
Provide the people you're serving?
That's right.
Right. And
you lose some of that when in government, everything changes around. Mm-hmm. And so for me, in my opinion, I'm really glad that I still have that business because I get to do some of both. So some days are very crazy. Starts off blue collar day for 3 or 4 hours, and then it shifts to white collar. So it's very interesting.
What made you go from carpet cleaner to council member? Was there something in between there?
Yeah, well, I've always been involved and followed politics. Even from when I remember my grandma saying, my very first vote was for Ronald Reagan. I was excited. She said, boy, you really get into this politics. And I just have always been interested in politics. But then when the Tea Party came into being about 6 years ago, that was a natural fit for me.
Because you were a Republican before?
I was a Republican and conservative, not just Republican, right. Chuck. That's so. In all reality, I was Republican, but very conservative, and I can't stand the way government just spends money. They always think throwing money at something is the answer. Of course, we know that's not working, but we still do it. And so when the Tea Party came into being, I thought, I can associate with this. These guys have a good message, limited government, limited, zero, no new taxes, all this kind of stuff. And I thought, I'm going to associate with them. So I kind of got involved in the Tea Party movement and became one of the leaders after a short time.
In the Fresno Tea Party?
In the Central Valley Tea Party, right, in the Fresno area. And there was different chapters throughout the valley.
But at first, wait, whoa, Tea Party. I mean, it was like pretty heavy deal.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore, right? Yeah. Probably in some circles a lot still. Yeah. But I mean, that's a pretty big jump.
Yes.
And was it Tea Party then council member?
Tea Party then council member.
So are you the first Tea Party member to ever be in Fresno Council?
Oh yeah, for sure. And so, well, you know what? Actually,
do you think you might be the last one in a long time?
Councilman. No. We're moving on up. Yeah, Councilman Olivier also is a Tea Party type guy.
Okay.
He's a we have conservatives, libertarians, and he's got a very libertarian slice to him. He was at a lot of our Tea Party functions and very conservative. So I think he might have even been the first. But literally running as a Tea Party candidate in Northwest Fresno, I was the first. And so, yeah. And you never know. The truth is, what you just mentioned, that the Tea Party came out with this loud bang, but you can only do that so long. After a while, and this is what happened to me, Chuck, I thought, it's one thing to stand on the street corner and protest everything, but I've got to get in the game and just try and get involved in bringing some conservative thought process into these different issues. And so that's what brought me into Fresno City Council, a small business owner, and the Tea Party, and some of those things together.
When you came into the city council, were you planning on making big changes?
You do. You plan on, you want to make an impact. I'm there to make an impact.
But when you were running, what were you telling people?
Well, I was talking about in North Fresno, which you hear a lot of complaints about, is the train. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes.
Sure.
High-speed rail. Back then, high-speed rail wasn't quite already started in Fresno. There was still some debate as to what was going to happen. I ran on a platform that said this train has got no budget. There's no budget for this train. It's not going to happen. It's crazy. So people resonated with that. And then I also talked about downtown Fresno, saying, there's a place for downtown Fresno, and there's great things happening in downtown Fresno. But we can't be only focused on downtown Fresno. In my district, that resonates. And I talked about...
Because the people in your district don't go downtown?
You know, it's a combination of both. There's the group that have been downtown, had a bad experience, they don't want to come back. That, unfortunately, Chuck, that bad experience might have happened 15 years ago.
Right.
You know,
I can go to North Fresno and have a bad experience.
You can go to North Fresno and have
there.
a bad experience, right. So I have that group that's had a bad experience downtown, and they don't like it. Maybe they came down here to do something. They ran into somebody homeless, yelled something at them. I don't know. But you have that group, and then you have a group of people that say, well, I don't even need to go down there. There's nothing down there that I don't have here. And so then they have a hard time justifying all of the focus on downtown Fresno. I've got to be right in the middle. I represent District 2, so I have to bring those north of Shaw, from Shaw Avenue to the river.
Okay.
And from Blackstone out past 99, so the northwest corner. And so I have to represent that mentality, but I also have to say, you know, I'm a city councilman for the whole city. And there's some good things happening in Fresno, downtown Fresno, and there's some things down here that I can support. So I've even shocked a few people. I've supported a lot of stuff in downtown Fresno.
You know, you have shocked some people, and you've shocked them both ways.
I've shocked them both ways. Yeah, yes, I have.
Because you're a guy that doesn't mind speaking your mind.
That's right.
And even on some things that a lot of people were pulling for, no, it just doesn't fiscally make sense. I'm not gonna. You're not gonna change my mind.
Right.
And dug your heels in a little bit. And I think that the way the media is in town, they don't get to see this kind of Steve Brandau. They don't get to hear you speak in your own words so much as condensed words, manipulated, massaged words to make you into a big jerk. You know?
Oh my gosh! I need to give you a $20 bill. That is exactly correct. Okay. So a lot of things that I do, I get pigeonholed, I get stereotyped. The truth, you know, they want to say the Tea Party strikes again or whatever. The truth is, I was in the game before the Tea Party. The Tea Party was just some folks that I associated with, and I love the principles, right? So I just want to bring those across and bring them. I'm just one of 7 people, Chuck, and then I have a mayor over there also that's a strong mayor. So it's not like I'm going to get to come in and get my way.
Right.
My
You're not
goal
going to bully anybody.
Yeah, I'm not going to bully anybody. My goal is just to come in and say, hey, I have to bring in some conservative values, some fiscal responsibility, and say we don't have the money to do everything. You know,
right.
so
I want to take the warm and fuzzy off and look at the numbers.
Yeah, the warm and fuzzy never ends up working out.
Okay.
You know.
Let's talk about one thing that you didn't like was the BRT.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
You thought that us getting all that free money was a bad idea.
Totally, absolutely.
Why?
Okay, because it's not the first thing Fresno needs. It's way down a list of priorities. And we're going to talk about priorities when we get to this train and the dam. But in Fresno, we have less than 3% of our population that uses public transportation. Okay? Now,
you know why? Because we're 40 years behind on public transportation.
We're 40 years behind, right? Okay, so here's the deal. No, it's really that's a statewide number. Okay, so it's not just Fresno. Statewide public transportation is not well used. Okay, it's heavily subsidized. Now, I am not going to belittle it because for the folks that use it, it's necessary. Okay, but what we have in Fresno is I have streets falling apart that have gone unpaved for decades, right? It starts down here.
Even in your district?
Oh my gosh, you should see the complaints I get. In North Fresno, you should drive on Fruit Avenue. Okay, on Fruit Avenue, you will just about blow out your transmission, okay? Because it's rough. You take Shaw, Fruit going north. I challenge anybody to go do that today.
Don't you be talking about Shaw and Fruit because that's where you made other headlines.
I made other beautiful, wonderful headlines.
That was the bike lanes.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah, exactly. Here's what Sacramento wants. They want to belittle the automobile. You've got a car sitting here, right? This is old school. They want to get rid of your car. They want to get you and me and everybody else on a bicycle in 105 degrees. Now, do you think that's going to work? No.
Probably not.
You hesitate.
Probably not.
Exactly.
Right.
That's why I voted that way. I have no problem with bike lanes on some streets. In North Fresno, we had a bike lane on Palm and then West. Right in between, there's Fruit. And I went out personally and said, you know, I'm going to find out about this. I went out and counted bicycles on Fruit. They don't exist there. You know why? There's nobody riding bikes, okay, on Fruit. So I said, this doesn't justify spending the money to change this street. Now, of course, I made the biking community upset with me, and I don't blame them.
But again, the media only probably told a little bit of that, right?
What they don't say is that probably on council, I don't know if anybody rides their bike more. I get on my bike, I exercise on my bike, I ride down to the San Joaquin River, I ride up, I ride to Clovis to get my truck fixed once, throw my bike in the back of the truck. So I ride my bike. But, you know, it's like you said, the media likes to pigeonhole you and get people working against each other. All I wanted to say is I support bike lanes, but we don't have to have them everywhere, on every street.
Okay. Good. Downtown Fresno, are you for it now?
Yeah, in a lot of ways I am. I cast big votes for it.
I know you did.
I took a hit.
Yeah, I think you surprised the people with that.
I surprised Tea Partiers. I surprised conservatives. I surprised people in North Fresno. Last year, we had a chance to open up the Fulton Mall. Well, when I was a kid in Selma, we used to come to the mall twice every year. I bought, my mom would buy me an Easter outfit and a back-to-school outfit. And we had a blast coming to Fulton Mall. But in Selma, you don't have to come to Fulton Mall anymore. You can buy that stuff in Selma now. Right. So everything changed. So Fulton Mall as a pedestrian mall, it doesn't work for me anymore. It's not working. You know, I'm a hands-on type of guy. I can walk up and down that mall the way it is now. I noticed there's some great artwork. I noticed there's a tree canopy. It's beautiful. But other than that, I notice a lot of stuff's falling apart, and I don't see people on there. So now I get a chance to vote to open it up to traffic. You know, I think to myself, well, it's not working now. Right. We have to give something else a chance for success. So I voted yes with the mayor, with Councilman Baines down here to open up Fulton Mall. And we spent money, $20 million, okay? So
$20 million it was granted
to us, right? And granted, we took a grant.
Take it, some other city would have gotten it anyway.
It would have gone to somewhere else, exactly. So we took the money, and I feel that was a valid use of that money. Now, you just asked me about bus rapid transit. $50 million to speed up buses on certain transit corridors in Fresno, with the concept that people are going to be soon living on Blackstone Avenue. Okay, in high-rise condominiums or apartments or residences.
Is that happening?
No, it's not going to happen in my lifetime, and not in your lifetime either. So here's a transit piece that's supposed to support that. Okay, well, we don't have that yet. Why are we going to drop $50 million on this bus rapid transit? I know, you know, sometimes it's tough to take a no vote. Because you know, everybody wants to spend. It's easy to spend. You make people happy when you spend. But you know, we're in a tough time. We got a lot of crime. I'd rather face other issues first. If there was money left over, I could do something with it then. But there's other bigger, more important issues.
Okay. Well, we want to talk about that billboard. And
cool.
that's the big thing. Did you pay for this billboard?
Yes, I did.
Out of your pocket?
Yes, out of my campaign funds, which is essentially the same thing. So when you run for office, you build the funds, the people that believe in you. Here's people that believe in you. They want to see you elected. I ran, that train was a big part of my campaign. And so I have this campaign funds, and then once you're in office, you still have, if you have whatever left over, I had $10,000 or $12,000 left over. Okay, I can spend that how I'd like. I can reserve a table at a party for saving pet goldfish. I could go over and I can register voters and I can spend some money there. I can go to a crab feed. I could purchase a table. I could do all type of. I could put something in District 2.
As long as it's accounted for.
Yeah, as long as it's accounted for. So I thought this issue was the type of thing that I got more interested in. So I said, you know, I'm going to use some of my funds and I'm going to put up the first billboard. So it was about $3,000.
And what do you hope to happen?
I hope to have a conversation with the governor of the state of California, and I hope he's listening to Central Valley Talk. Okay? Because I want to have a conversation with the governor. I'm going to say, Governor, you put a lot of energy into this train. I get it. You love the train. I'm not convinced, but that's okay. You don't have to convince me. You love the train. You want the train. Here's what I would like. I'd like you to put at least that much energy into our valley's water needs. And what that means, Chuck, to me is Temperance Flat Dam. When the state needed a water bond passed last November, they needed the valley support. They came to the valley. Assemblyman Perea, Henry T. Perea was involved. Assemblyman Bigelow was involved. We had a lot of people, Republicans, Democrats, involved in the water bond. We said to support the bond, we need water storage. We need a dam. We haven't had a dam built in 4 or 5 decades. We need a dam. Everybody said, okay, that's a good idea. We'll put it in the wording of the bond. So we said, yeah, we'll vote for it. I voted for it. I supported it. I had friends who didn't, but I said, if they're going to do that, I'm going to support it. So we all voted for the bond passed in November. Since November, we haven't heard anything except backpedaling on our dam. Now, the environmentalists in Northern California, they're still getting their stuff. The water drinkers in Los Angeles, they're still getting their stuff. But here in the Valley, our agriculture economy, our urban cities and towns, we need more water, right? We've seen over 17,000 farm labor jobs vanish because of lack of water, lack of crops going in. That hurts everybody. What does that do? That increase, when you lose jobs, you can't afford your home. You can't afford your home, your family starts to fall apart. Your family falls apart, we see crime increase. This is the impact of our economy not having enough water. And so, plus, on top of that, we have towns in Fresno County that are losing their drinking water supply.
Right.
This is unacceptable. So I'm saying to the governor, let's address these issues with the same amount of energy that you address the train. So,
Steve Brandau, thanks a lot for coming by,
Chuck,
man.
Thanks for having me.
Nice talking with you. And I'm glad that I got to sit down and talk with you and not just hear you on the evening news.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right.
Have me back.
I will.
All right.
Steve Brandau, council member.